Out on the waters of the Gulf today, our David Muir was the only reporter to fly with the Coast Guard to the site of the rig explosion. What he saw looks like a fiery scene from hell, but it turns out that fire is the hope. David?
Diane, good evening to you. We landed just a short time ago after traveling out to the site of the Deepwater Horizon. And as you mentioned, what we saw late today were flames as dramatic as the night of that explosion. This time, though, a good sign. 50 miles off Louisiana's shore, 3 giant plumes of smoke, and it's actually a welcome sight. They are now burning the oil, something they could not do in the Exxon Valdez spill because it was so close to shore. Now there are rings of fire in the Gulf.
Put it off the right side or off the left side.
This is the closest the Coast Guard captain overseeing this has been to these fires, and he brought us with him.
We're talking tens of thousands of barrels of oil.
125,000 barrels have been burned so far at the site where the Deepwater Horizon sank, where now 2 tankers are collecting oil. And we asked about the ocean skimmers we saw, the largest skimmers of their kind, able to scoop up 8,000 barrels of oil a day.
Yeah, now looking at Norway, France, Spain, some other European areas to get these skimmers on scene.
We're 8 weeks in, so a lot of folks would ask why now? Why didn't we get these larger skimmers earlier?
Well, one of the challenges we have is that our regulatory scheme...
Federal regulations standing in the way. What's called the Jones Act, a law from the 1920s that says the Coast Guard must use American vessels.
You had to waiver regulations to do that.
We had to work with the President and Admiral Allen to get the Jones Act waiver.
They ran into the same law during Katrina, but it took just a week then to get around it. Those international skimmers now will be here in July. And then those vacuum barges supposed to be sucking up the oil ordered docked by the Coast Guard. Hundreds of you wrote in after our report last night. The main problem with all this is the red tape, the federal bureaucracy at its finest. It was this captain who made that call.
When you hear these frustrated governors talking about boom that ends up in another state or vacuum barges that don't get out there, do you understand their frustration?
Everybody's frustrated. The real reason is safety. Absolutely, we don't want, my number one goal is make sure we get nobody hurt during this incident.
David, is that captain aware of the thousands and thousands of people riding and up in arms because of the decision?
Yeah, he is aware of it, Diane, but he said he's got to put the safety of the people on those vacuum barges first. But it's really emblematic of the push-pull and the decision-making process here. And I did ask him, is there anything he could be doing better? And he said, I could be doing better, but we could all be doing better.
Well, David, as you know, we have been asking another question of the Coast